I'm gonna make this shirt. Hey guys, it's Olivia. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. So today is Saturday, July 12th, and about a month ago, Will Smith came out with a new song and it dropped with a music video and it was called Pretty Girls. And I just saw clips about it circulating on Twitter. Yes, I'm still gonna call it Twitter. It's not called X. It simply is not called that, I've decided. So anywho, I saw videos of it circling on Twitter, and the first thing that I noticed was the shirt that he had on. And my initial thought was it's a hexagon granny square t-shirt, but the more I look at it, the more I realize it's not. Like, the more I look at it, it looks knitted. Like, it doesn't look like crochet. Like, the spaces between the granny clusters, like, there's no gap. So I'm a little confused, but either way, when I first saw the music video, I was like, I can make that, which I'm pretty sure every crocheter in the history of the universe has said. When you're watching a movie, a TV show, a YouTube video, you see something that's crocheted and the first thought that goes in your mind is, I can make that. And so I've decided to make it. Even though I can't tell if it's knitted or crocheted, I'm gonna make a crochet version if it happens to be knitted. So I've never made a shirt like this before. I've made mesh shirts and stuff for myself years ago, but I don't think I've crocheted a shirt in probably over 10 years. So we're gonna see how this goes, but let's do a quick yarn haul. So earlier in the week, I did an online order at Michael's and I ordered some yarn that I'm about to show you, but then I didn't pick it up until yesterday. And when I went to Michael's, usually when you order a lot of yarn, they give you a free Michael's bag so that you can carry everything out, but they didn't this time. They just put 8 skeins of yarn into a basket and I had to carry them all individually out of the store. But either way, I have a plethora of Michael bags. So I did end up putting it in a Michael's bag once I got home. So let's look at the colors that we got. So all of these are Loops and Threads soft classic acrylic yarn. And I understand making a t-shirt out of acrylic yarn, probably not the best decision, but we're trying to recreate this on a budget, and acrylic yarn is the most affordable yarn. So anywho, first I have pink, then light yellow, bright red, and wreath. So it's very hard to hold all of these. I bought 2 of each skein. I hope that that's enough. If not, we might have to do more yarn shopping, but I tried my best to color match it to the shades of the shirt from the video. So this is the color palette and let's get started. I will not be following a pattern because there isn't one. I'm just gonna look at the picture and freehand it, sort of. So I'm gonna write down what I'm doing as I do it because I have to make one side and then the other side and then attach it at the back. So basically both sides need to be symmetrical, which means I need to know the exact amount of stitches that I do on one side so that I can replicate it on the other side. So I will be writing things down as I go, and I'm just going to be looking at the picture and I'm going to try and copy the order of colors that it is on the shirt. So yeah, we're going to be doing a lot of zooming to really get it down. By the way, it is 6:22 p.m. So we're starting when the day is almost done. Am I gonna get this finished tonight? Probably not, but I'm going to try and finish it this weekend. So basically today and tomorrow, I'm gonna try and get this shirt done. Let's see how that goes. So the way I'm gonna structure this is I'm gonna start from under the armpit and work my way out. And from what I could tell by zooming in, it starts with yellow, therefore I will also be starting with yellow. And it comes with a center pull. Love that. Okay, so I have finished what I qualify as round 1. I know that you can't really see the clusters right now, but I promise they're there. I know it just looks like double crochets, but that's because I'm trying to get the same no holes look as from the video. So essentially I'm not doing a chain one between the clusters. So hopefully it will give the same look. Also, I've been writing things down on my iPad as I go. So if you see me stopping and writing, that's what I'm doing. So now let me look back at this picture. The next color is blue, which for me is Reef. And I will not be cutting off my yarn between each row. I don't want to weave in that many ends, so I will be carrying my yarn. So it will look a little messy on the inside of the shirt, but you won't be able to see it from the outside. Okay, now I think you can see more of the clusters now that I've added the blue. And based on the picture, the next round is the same color. So we're continuing with blue. Okay, round 3 done. I realized that I didn't increase when doing the second round. So things are starting to curl a little bit, but I really don't want to go back and fix it, which means that when I make the other side, I'm also going to have to forget to increase on the second round, but that's okay. It'll be fine. What's the next color? Let's look at this picture. The next color is red, and from what I can tell, there's 3 rounds of red, but also this is like the under armpit section. Then I need the next section to go pretty much up to my shoulders. So how I'm going to do that is I'm going to essentially do some chains because I'm going to have to extend the granny stitch up this way and then attach it, go around, and then do some chains on the other side. Or no, I'm gonna have to do the granny stitch, connect it, come around. I don't know exactly how I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna do the thing and then I'll explain what I did after because I need to think for a second. Okay, let me explain what I did. I probably made this way harder than it needs to be, but once again, I've never done this before, so I'm just winging it. So essentially what I did is I chained 25 on this side and then I slip stitched it around and then chained 25 on the other side. So if this is my armhole and then these 2 red pieces are gonna meet at the top, maybe I made it too small. Well, no, I didn't. It's just because I'm wearing a sweater. So it's gonna be like that. Right? So I'm done like the underarm section and now we're gonna start working on this section. And so now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna do like how we started. I started with a chain and then I did the clusters into the chain. So now I have this chain and I'm gonna do the clusters into the chain and then the clusters into what I've already made and then clusters back into the chain. I don't know if I explained that well, but it makes sense in my head. So we're gonna see if it makes sense in real life. But first, let me write down what I did so I don't forget. I just realized I made a really big mistake, which is so annoying because with the mistake of me not increasing, like that's fine. I can overlook that. This one, no. So can you see, let me turn it to the proper side. Can you see I have my clusters of 3, clusters of 3, clusters of 3. Right here, I only did 1. And then right here, I did 2. And then I went back to 3, 3, and 3. How did I make that mistake? mistake. I just did a regular double crochet instead of 3, which means I have to undo all of the red that I just did, all of the crocheting into the chain that I just did. I have to undo all of that. Oh my gosh, I might have to, oh no, I thought I was gonna have to undo the whole 3rd row, but no, because I did it near the end of the 3rd row. This is annoying. I was trying to get through this without frogging. A girl can dream. Okay, we've ripped it all back. Let's fix it. Okay, so I have added my red granny clusters with the extension for the armhole, which will then get connected at the top once I'm done. So essentially it should look something like this. I think I'm doing an okay job. You can see the slip stitches, like the red from where I did my makeshift attachment, but I really don't think it's that noticeable. And even if it is, it doesn't matter because the next row was supposed to be red anyways. It's kind of like an embellishment. I don't know, I don't mind it. And this is for me, so it's all good. So now I need to do 2 more rows of red. The fact that I think I've been crocheting for about an hour and a half and I've done 4 rows of a project, crazy. Okay, so I have finished the red rows, and upon further inspection on this picture, it looks like the red is still supposed to be short, like the red is still supposed to be under the armpit. It's not supposed to be the first row that starts connecting the armhole, but I'm not undoing this. I'm not. So my shirt is gonna have a little bit more red than Will Smith's shirt, but that's okay. That's fine. The next color is pink, and there are, based on this picture, 2 rows of pink. So now let's add the pink. Okay, I have done the 2 pink rows. And so I feel like you guys get what we're doing here. We're literally just doing the granny stitch around and around and around until when you fold it in half, it'll cover 1/2 of my body. I am aware that this is probably going to be too big for me, mainly because I'm just copying the amount of rows that is on Will Smith's shirt. And I'm gonna make an educated guess that he's taller than me, meaning he's not gonna wear a women's small to medium, right? So this is gonna be a bit big on me, which is fine because we're just trying to recreate that shirt. We're not trying to recreate it in my size. I'm just trying to recreate the shirt. So I'm copying it row for row, stitch for stitch. But either way, we now know what the clusters look like in each color, and it doesn't follow this pattern. It's not gonna go yellow, blue, red, pink, yellow, blue, red, pink over and over again. It's just kind of random. So whatever the picture shows is the color that I'm going to do next. And I'm not going to keep checking in between each color. I will now send it into a very long time lapse. And the next time we speak will be when I am done either one panel and or when it gets too late and I decide to go to bed, whichever one comes first. Hi, popping in quickly. You know how I said I was just gonna carry my yarn and I wasn't gonna cut it off? That may or may not be possible because firstly, I need to use yellow next, and yellow is all the way on the inside, like before I created the armholes. So there's no way for me to carry the yellow without you seeing it. And then also, sometimes I'm gonna end on this side and other times I'm gonna end on this side. So if I need to pick up a color that's on the opposite side, there's no way for me to carry that over. So I might have to do some cutting of yarn and I'm just gonna have to be okay with it. And the thing is, I don't even necessarily have to weave in these ends because once again, I'm keeping this for myself. So if there's a bunch of loose ends, it doesn't actually matter. So yeah, we're gonna have to cut the yellow and we're gonna have to cut other colors moving forward, and that's okay. Okay, so I have done 19 rounds, and from my counting on the picture, I believe I have 15 more rounds to go, but that is not going to happen tonight. It is currently 11:33 p.m., so this is how far I've gotten. If I quickly put my arm through here, I'm gonna stand up real quick. You can see that it's past, like my hip is here, and it's already past my hip. And it's already meeting in the middle, meaning that if I made another panel, it would meet perfectly. So then if I basically double this, it's gonna be very wide and very long. But once again, I'm recreating this shirt row by row, and we're just gonna see what the finished product ends up looking like. But for tonight, I was hoping this would be a 2-day project, like today and tomorrow, but it looks like it's probably gonna be a 4-day project. So I'll do half of one panel today, probably the other half tomorrow. So that will be 2 days, and then day 3, I'll do half of the other side. Day 4, I'll finish that off. And then I'll have to do the details such as the outline and adding the buttons and all the things. So this might take twice as long as I initially thought. It might take 4 or 5 days instead of 2, but this is how far we've gotten so far, and it's gonna be bigger than I initially thought.
The next day.
It's the next day. So it is Sunday, July 13th at 5:59 p.m. So basically 6 o'clock. And I am going to finish off the panel that I started last night. Or at least that's the plan. I was looking back at the footage from yesterday and I was crocheting for about 5 hours. And I didn't realize it because I'm not timing myself. Like there is a timer up here, but this is a timer that I add when I'm editing. So while I'm crocheting, I don't actually know how long it's taking me. And yeah, so I've done 19 rows and I believe I have 15 more rows left. So basically double. So if it took me about 5 hours yesterday, it might even take me longer today because the rounds are now longer because I have to do an increase in each round. So the earlier rounds are less stitches than the later rounds. So even though I have half the amount of rounds to do, it'll probably take me longer. So let's start now. We are gonna have a little bit of an interruption because in about 45 minutes, I have someone stopping by to pick up a hat that I crocheted for them. As of right now, I haven't posted that video, but that video is gonna go up before this one. So by the time you're watching this video, that one will already be out. So I'm crocheting a hat for a friend and she's coming by to pick it up. And so she's coming by in about 45 minutes. So we will have a little bit of an interruption while I go give her the hat, but then we'll come right back to crocheting. Oh my gosh, she messaged me like an hour ago and I did not see it. So my yarn has been in this bag overnight. I hope things have not gotten tangled. And now our next color is red. So let's get started. Okay, so I just got an Instagram DM, her telling me that she's here. So now I'm going to take my small crochet break and give her the hat.
A few minutes later.
I just gave her the hat and she liked it. But once again, you should already know this if you watched last week's video. But now we can get back to crocheting. Okay, quickly popping in to say something here. I need to do one more row of pink from here all the way around back to the other side. And I only have this much pink left. I highly doubt this is enough considering I can see the other end. So I can do one of two things. I can just leave it at 3 rows instead of 4, or I can do the 4th row and then at some point I'm gonna have to tie on the second skein. The only problem with that is I bought 2 skeins of each color. So I was hoping that it would be 1 skein for one side and 1 skein for the other. So if I dip into the second skein before I get to the second side, then I obviously won't have enough to finish the second side, which means I'm gonna have to buy another ball of yarn. So it would be more convenient for me and more time saving for me if I just stopped at 3 rounds. But the perfectionist in me is like, but there's 4. At least from the looks of it, to me, it looks like 4. So if I only did 3, I feel like that would bother me. But I think to save my, ooh, I dropped my hook. But I think to save myself time and money, I think I'm just going to stop at 3. So now we're gonna switch to blue, which is the final round for this panel. And since I'm stopping on the wrong side, I will have to cut the yarn. So what I've been doing, because I've been ending on the same side for a while, is I've just been carrying the yarn. It's very messy, but it works. But since I'm now gonna be starting a new color on the other side, I am gonna have to cut off the blue. And time. Okay, I just finished the last round. Don't know how long I've been crocheting for, probably 9 to 10 hours total. And we are done the first panel. And the reason I say done is because once I make the second panel and connect them, then I have to do like embellishments and stuff along the outer edge. So we will be working on this panel further once it's connected to the other side. But for now, we are done. And as you can see, it's gigantic. This is giving blanket. It's not giving t-shirt. But I'm going to pin these sides together and then like put my arm through it, try on the one side, see how it looks. So just give me a second to pin it. Okay, I have it bobby pinned together. Don't know if you can see that. By the way, it's 10:40 p.m. and I finished crocheting about 8 minutes ago at 10:32. So I started around 5 something, took a little break to give my friend her hat, and then got right back to it. So it's been 4 or 5 hours. It's almost 11 p.m. I have work tomorrow, but I was committed. So let's try this on, shall we? So this is gonna be the right side. Ooh, and it's falling apart because it's bobby pinned. And bobby pins are not actual pins. Let's try this one more time. I'm gonna try to use the yarn ends and like tie a knot and tie it together. Oh, you can't hear me. I don't think you guys can hear me because my mic isn't plugged in. Okay, take 2, this time with the mic. So I'm gonna put my arm through and I'm just gonna hold it with my other hand because I don't think it's strong enough to stay on its own. But this would be the front. And as you can see, I did some decreases So we're gonna have the V-neck just like in the photo, and then there's no decreases on the back. It's just a solid block. I don't know if you can see it very well. Also, it's not as long as I thought it was gonna be. Let me tilt this down. It's at my knee, which I thought it was gonna be like basically down to my ankles, but it's not. It's just at my knee. So honestly, this could just end up being an oversized cardigan. Like, this can still work. One thing I might do, because since the top is basically gonna extend onto the sleeve because of the width that I made it, it's basically almost at my elbow anyways, I might turn this into a long sleeve. So instead of being a t-shirt, because it's already t-shirt length. So instead of being a t-shirt, I might just make it a long sleeve and then it'll be a cardigan. This will be a very convoluted way of making a cardigan, because I know that we've all seen the granny stitch hexagon cardigans, right? So if I knew I was gonna make a cardigan, I could have just done that. But it's okay. It's fine, because we're trying to replicate something we saw on the internet, and that shirt that he's wearing is not a hexagon. It ain't. I looked at it. So basically, with a hexagon cardigan, the stripes would be up and down on the front, but they would be left and right on the arm. But I don't know exactly how to explain it, but his isn't that. So essentially, I'm just gonna have to repeat this on the other side, and we're gonna have an oversized cardigan. That's what we're doing instead. So we're still copying the color scheme, and we're still gonna have the collar and everything, but it's gonna be a cardigan. It's gonna be a cardigan. So now when it comes to making the second panel, I'm not gonna record it because it's just gonna be the exact same thing that I just did. I will, however, time myself, and then once I finish it, I will get back to you guys and tell you how long it took. So yeah, I don't think you guys wanna sit through a time lapse of me making the exact same thing that I just made. You know what I mean? So the next time we talk will be when the second panel is done and it's time to sew them together. And I don't know exactly when that's gonna be because it's Sunday right now. And as I said, I have work tomorrow, like Monday through Friday, right? So I don't know if I'm gonna get to work on it during this week or if I'm gonna have to wait till next weekend. But since I'm not gonna be filming myself making the second panel, then I can just crochet whenever I have time. Like, oh, I have half an hour here, 10 minutes there, you know what I mean? Because it's like when I wanted to film, then I needed like a time block so that I could just sit down and film the whole thing. But since I'm not filming the second half, then I can crochet bit by bit throughout the week. So hopefully I get it done before next weekend. But yeah, that is the first panel. It's currently 10:50 p.m. I'm probably gonna start on the second panel, I'm not gonna lie to you. And as I said, I will be timing myself and I'll get back to you on how long that takes. I'm hoping it'll be a little bit faster because now I'll have the first one as reference on what to do. I won't have to keep looking at the photo and counting how many rows I'm supposed to do. I'll just have the first panel right in front of me. So yeah, I honestly might start working on the second panel right now. One more thing, I just wanna show you guys how much yarn the first panel used. So as we saw before, I was running out of pink. So this is how much pink I have left. Very scarce. This is how much blue, this is how much red, and this is how much yellow. So they're all pretty floppy, but the yellow still has a fair amount in there. Don't know if it's gonna be enough to complete the whole second panel. Like, maybe I won't have to dip into the second one. I don't know. We'll see. But the other colors, I'm definitely going to have to dip into the second skeins that I bought. So the color that was used the most was pink, and the color that was used the least was yellow. And it's not that there's that many pink rows. It's just that a bulk of the pink rows are on the outside, and the farther out you get is the more stitches you have. So yeah. But anywho, that's the yarn usage update, and I'll see you guys when I finish the second panel.
Several days later.
I finished the second panel. So it is several days later. It is Tuesday, July 22nd at 12:23 a.m. as in like nighttime. And so I finished this panel a few days ago. I finished it on Friday, June 18th at like 5 a.m. I stayed up until 5 a.m. finishing it, and I was working on it for a couple of days. I think I worked on it a few hours each day between the last time I spoke to you, which was last Sunday, and then the Friday. So I worked on it a little bit over the course of 5-ish days, and I was timing myself the whole time, and it took me 8 hours, 39 minutes, and 43.38 seconds. So I will be adding that time to the timer up here. So that is how long it took me to make both panels. And let's quickly try them on. They're not sewn together or anything, but let's see what we got. So right now I just have the shoulders safety pinned so that they stay up. And this is very busy because I'm wearing a multicolored shirt and then this over top, but disregard the clashing for a second. It is very oversized, which we already established that's what it was gonna be. And you can't see the length, but it basically goes down to my knees. And so as for sleeves, I believe I said this last week, this is gonna be a cardigan now. We're abandoning the t-shirt. This is a cardigan now. So essentially I need to make sleeves, and I'm also going to put cuffs on the sleeves. So I don't need to make the sleeves too much longer because this is already at my elbow. So I just need to make a sleeve to about here and then do a cuff for the rest. I was supposed to work on this shirt this past weekend on Saturday and Sunday, but then Saturday morning I woke up and I was not feeling well. I was essentially in my bed all day. And then Sunday was just, it ended up being a very busy day. I went to church in the morning and then I went out to dinner with my family in the evening, and so I just didn't end up working on this at all. And the thing is, I'm leaving for a trip on Wednesday night / Thursday morning. Like, I'm leaving my house Thursday at like midnight to go on a trip. So basically I have 2 days to finish this. So it's technically Tuesday right now because it's just after midnight. So I'm going to stay up late and hopefully make the sleeves and then wake up in the morning and sew the pieces together, then go to work in the evening and then come home from work at around midnight-ish and then do the details like the single crochet border and the buttons and the collar. I don't know if I'm gonna get this done, but I really wanna get this done before my trip because I'm not bringing this with me. This is too big of a project to bring on a trip. Like, I'm not bringing this on a plane. Like, I'm just not doing that. And like, I was just so annoyed when I woke up Saturday and I wasn't feeling well because Saturday was supposed to be the day that I basically finished it because I had nothing to do on Saturday, and then I basically couldn't get out of my bed. So we're in a bit of a time crunch because I'm going away for a week. So if I don't get this done before I leave, then this video isn't gonna go up for like another 2 weeks. And I don't like that. I wanna get this video done. So I've done enough yapping. Now let's try and figure out the sleeves. I've been analyzing the picture and trying to figure out the construction of the sleeves because it seems that the sleeves are made separately and then sewn on. It's not just crocheted directly on. So yeah, let's move over to my couch and start making some sleeves. I'm on my couch, and before we get into crocheting the sleeves, I just want to give a quick yarn update of how much yarn I've used up until this point. So as you guys know, I started out by buying 2 skeins of each color. And so this is how much pink I have left after doing both panels. So I used 1 skein, and then this is what's left of the second skein. This is how much red I have left. I used 1 full skein plus this. And then for blue, I used 1 full skein, and then this is how much I have left of the second skein. And then for yellow, this is how much I have left, but this is only 1 skein. I still have the full second skein unused, although I'm about to use it to make the sleeves. But yes, so it turns out that yellow is the color that I needed the least of. But looking at how sparse my blue and pink are, I figured that I wouldn't have enough to finish the sleeves. Plus, if you look at the reference, all of the trim, the single crochet border as well as the collar are in blue. So this is not enough for sleeves and the whole border. So I went to Michael's and I bought another skein of blue and another skein of pink. So this should be enough to finish it off. So in total for this project, thus far, I have bought 10 skeins, 3 blue, 3 pink, 2 yellow, 2 red. So now let me take a look at this picture and try and figure out the structure of these sleeves. I also did quick measurements from my elbow to where I would want the sleeve to end before I do the cuff is 8 inches. Can you see that? Right there is where I'd want it to end. But then again, if I'm copying row for row, stitch for stitch, it may be longer than I'm anticipating it to be. Let me look at this picture real quick. From what I can tell, the sleeve is 19 rows. I'm not gonna do that many. So a lot of these, I can see that it's like 2 rows of a lot of the colors. I'm just gonna do 1 because then the sleeve is gonna be way too long. So I'm gonna be changing colors every row instead of every other row. That's the plan. I'm gonna be starting from the base working towards the shoulder. So according to this picture, the first color is yellow. So I'm gonna start with my little ball just to finish off the first skein, and then I will add this one once it's time. Let's start crocheting. So what I'm attempting to do is making it curve, but this is supposed to be flat. So I need to fix the second row because I don't know what I did, but it's wrong. Okay, so I've redone it, and as you can see, it's going straight across now. So I think I figured out what I did wrong, and I'm writing it down as I go, so I'll be able to repeat it for the other sleeve. I know I said that I wasn't going to do doubles. I was only gonna do 1 of each color. However, there is one pink stripe that is like distinctly wider than all the others. So I am going to do 2 rows of pink for that one stripe, and then every other stripe is just gonna be 1. I've officially run out of the first skein of yellow, so now I'm gonna add on the second one. Attached it with a magic knot. Now we're ready to continue. Okay, and here we are. I have finished the first sleeve. So as I was going, I was picking up the body and seeing if it lined up. And based on the picture, these blue rows, like blue, yellow, blue, should only go across the top. It shouldn't also go down the side. But then because I was only doing one row of each color and not two, it wouldn't have been wide enough. So let's see if it's wide enough. Yeah, I think it lines up pretty well. I will say that I prefer the look of switching colors every other row. I don't know. When you switch every other row, you get kind of this like zigzag. So you see how the red zigs and zags, the pink zigs and zags. But when you switch every other row, you're zigging and zagging between different colors. So I just prefer the look of this. And I don't know if it's going to look weird that I changed every other row on the body, but changed colors every row on the sleeve. Like, I don't know if that's gonna look weird. However, if I do 2 rows of each color, this is gonna double in length. And then that's just gonna be even bigger than it already is. And it's gonna take more time. I've already spent like probably 16 plus hours on just the body, and I've spent probably another hour on this sleeve. I don't think the next sleeve is gonna take me nearly as long. With this sleeve, I kept stopping and measuring, and also I kept having to reference the picture to see what color came next. But when I'm making the next sleeve, I'll just have this right in front of me and I'll just be able to look at it. And also I was pausing to like write down instructions so that I can duplicate it for the next sleeve. But either way, the first sleeve took me longer. The second sleeve should take less time, but I don't want to make double this because if it starts at my elbow, then it comes down to here, which is where the cuff should start. So yeah, it might look a little off, but it is what it is. And now that I've made this once, and saw how much bigger it turned out than I intended, if I ever made this again, which right now I'm very much contemplating my life decisions to tackle this project, but either way, if I were to make this again, I would switch colors every single row on the body, and then it would literally be half the size because I would be doing half the amount of rows, you know what I'm saying? But when I initially started this project, I was trying to make it as close to the original as possible. So if it said 2 rows of yellow, I did 2 rows of yellow, no matter how big the final product was gonna end up being. But either way, I am finished the first sleeve, and I'm not gonna film myself making the second sleeve, just like how I didn't film myself making the second panel, because you're just gonna see me do the same thing twice. So I will come back to you in maybe an hour or so once I finish the second sleeve. So I'm gonna do it right now. I'm just not gonna film it. By the way, it is 2:33 a.m. right now. And I am determined to finish this sleeve because, as we've established, I'm on a time crunch. I'm leaving the country in a few days, and I do not want to bring this project with me. It's just too big. So I'll see you in a sec.
1 hour later.
Okay, it is 3:53 a.m. So if I'm speaking a little bit quieter than usual, that's why. But I have finished the second sleeve. So we have 2 identical sleeves. This sleeve took me 1 hour, 10 minutes, and 57.22 seconds. So let's add that to the overall timer. And so that is all I'm going to do for tonight, or I guess this morning. So now I have all my pieces. I have a right panel, left panel, right sleeve, left sleeve. So now it's sewing the pieces together and then doing the details, which is the single crochet border, the collar, and the cuffs. And I'm trying to get all of this done before I leave on my trip, which is Wednesday night. We'll see. We'll see. Oh, I want to show you a quick yarn update of how much yarn I have left, because at this point, the only color I'm going to be using is blue because all of the details are in blue. So the rest of the colors, I no longer need them. So this is how much pink I have left. As you can see in the background, I didn't even touch the extra skein that I just bought. So the third skein has not been touched, therefore I can return this and get my money back. Love that for me. So yes, I didn't actually end up needing this. When I decided to buy this, it's because I wasn't planning on changing colors every round. So I thought I was going to need basically twice as much pink as I actually ended up using. But then I ended up changing my mind. So I thought I was gonna need this, but I don't. So I'm gonna get my money back on this. And then in terms of blue, this is how much I have left. And I have not touched my new third skein, but I will once I start working on the details. This is how much red I have left. So I used one skein. This is how much is left of the second skein. So quite a bit of yarn is left here, so I can make maybe a hat or something with this. And then this is how much yellow I have left. The middle is getting a little bit hollow, but for the most part, this is a relatively full skein. So I have a good amount of yarn left from this project. And I guess I'll be adding it to my stash that I am slowly accumulating. So that is the update on yarn usage. And I'm gonna get to return one skein of yarn. So it is 3:58 a.m. I'm going to pack up my stuff and go to sleep. And then I'm gonna wake up when the sun is up and continue working. Honestly and truly, if it's 4 a.m. and I go to bed now, I'm probably not gonna wake up before noon, if I'm being real. So I don't know how much work I'm gonna get done tomorrow if I wake up at noon, or not tomorrow, but later today. I don't know how much work I'm gonna get done, but when I wake up, I will definitely work on this before I go to work. So see you guys when the sun rises.
Many hours later.
The sun is up. So as you guys can see, I'm in my car and I'm not currently getting ready to start crocheting for the day. A long story short, I didn't end up going to bed until after 5 a.m. and I woke up at 12:15. I could tell that I was still tired, so I went back to bed and I didn't wake up till 2:50. Now it's 3:53 and I'm on my way to work. So yes, waking up and sewing the pieces together, haha, didn't happen. So essentially, I'm gonna have to put this project on pause because I still have some prep to do before I leave for my trip tomorrow night. And so I don't wanna rush this project. And I want to make it good, and I want to be able to take good pictures and like do an outfit reveal and all this stuff. So yeah, I'm going to pause the video, and it's probably not going to go up until the second week of August, even though it was supposed to go up this weekend, which would have been the 26th of July. It's probably not going to get up till the 8th of August, which is a bit of a bummer, but it's okay. It's okay. I just want this to be a fun project. And I don't want to keep working on this at night and having to be whispering to you guys because the rest of my house is asleep. So I want this project to be fun and to be enjoyable to watch. So I started this project mid-July and I'm not going to finish it until mid-August. But that's okay. So anywho, the next time you guys are gonna see me is gonna be after I come home from my trip. I come back on July 31st. So the next time I talk to you is probably gonna be August 1st. So I'll see you in about a week and a half for me, but in like 2 seconds for you.
2 weeks later.
Hello. It is Sunday, August 3rd, and I am now going to sew the pieces together. So I got back from my trip on July 31st, as I said in the previous clip. But as you guys saw in the video that I posted yesterday for me, but last week for you, I got an order while I was away on my trip. And so when I came home, I didn't start working on this shirt again because I had an Etsy order to complete. So I worked on the Etsy order on the 31st and I shipped it out on the 1st, and then on the 2nd I went out and hung out with some family. So now it's the 3rd. It is currently 5:33 p.m. and we are now going to sew the pieces together. Also, I don't have to be in a rush because tomorrow is a holiday. So I have today and tomorrow to work on this shirt. And if all goes to plan, fingers crossed, I will finish this project tomorrow. But for now, we are going to start sewing together the 2 panels and the 2 sleeves. Okay, so I have both panels laid out in front of me, and I'm just going to sew them together. And I'm going to use the blue, and I'm going to be using the mattress stitch. So yeah, let's put the timer back up on the screen and let's continue working on this cardigan. Okay, I have sewn it down the back. Took a lot longer than I expected, but the 2 panels are finally connected. Now I need to fold them and connect them at the shoulder. So I need to connect this part now. For the shoulder, I am going to continue using the blue. I don't think I'm going to be able to do a mattress stitch because this is like the edge, meaning there's not the V's, like these are not here. So I don't know what stitch I'm gonna use, but in the music video, the shoulders are connected with the blue yarn. So that's what I'm gonna do. So with the mattress stitch, the yarn you use is invisible, so you can't see it. But with this, since I don't think I'm gonna be able to do a mattress stitch, it's going to be visible, but that's okay because that's what it looks like on the actual shirt that I'm replicating. So yeah. Okay, so I've done one side, and I probably should have done the sewing on the inside. This is the outside, but as I said, I wanted the blue to be visible, and it's not as visible as it is on the original, but I feel like doing the sewing on the outside makes it so that you can see where it was sewn together, which is kind of like what the original looks like. And also I wanted to sew it in a way that all of my like carry through yarn was on the inside, and I just found that this was the easiest way to do that. So I will be repeating that on the other shoulder. Other shoulder complete. So now we have the 2 sleeves, and the side that is going to be sewn on is this long side. And so this side has the V's, but then the armhole opening does not. Or maybe it does. Ooh, never mind. I was gonna say I don't think I can do a mattress stitch, but I think I can. So essentially, I'm going to sew it here. So I'm gonna sew around, and then when I get to the bottom, then I'll sew it across the bottom. I'm gonna pause sewing for a second and just put some pins so that I can make sure that everything lines up properly. Okay, so I've just put a pin in the top so that I know that this part of the sleeve and this part of the shoulder is where it should line up, because I wouldn't want to accidentally like sew this part all the way up here, you know what I mean? So this is my checkpoint to know that the top of the sleeve lines up with the top of the shoulder. Now I'm going to continue sewing. Okay, one sleeve attached and sewing up the bottom. Now I need to do the same on the other side. Okay, second sleeve done. So now I've attached all the pieces. So let's do a quick try on. It is not done. We still have to do the details. But now that everything is constructed, let's do a quick try on, shall we? Okay, I am downstairs in my living room and I have the cardigan. Let's try it on. I need to figure out which side is the front. Okay. Okay. I can't really see what I look like because the viewfinder is very far away and very tiny, but it is fitting the way that I thought it would. So now I just need to do the cuff. So the cuff is gonna be kind of long. The cuff is gonna go from my wrist all the way up to here. But yeah, it's oversized. It's definitely oversized. But I'm gonna make it work. And then I'm gonna do the details. I'm gonna do the cuffs, and then I'm also going to do the single crochet border, and I'm going to add the buttons and everything. So yeah, this is where we are so far. I might start on the single crochet border. I want to leave the cuffs till the end because I've never done a cuff before and I'm not feeling like trying something new at 8:18 p.m. So I might start on the single crochet border tonight. I might even finish the single crochet border tonight. I don't know, we'll see. But yeah, it's coming together.
12 o'clock midnight.
It's a little bit later. It is currently 12:01 a.m., so I took a little bit of a break, but I am back and ready to continue working. And the thing is, I know it's late, but as I said, tomorrow, or I guess technically today, is a holiday, and I'm very much a night owl, so I'm not going to be going to bed anytime soon. So if I'm going to be awake and watching YouTube, then I might as well have a project to work on in the meantime. So I am going to start working on the single crochet border. And for that, I'm going to be putting buttons on one side and buttonholes on the other side, meaning that while I'm working on the border, I have to properly space where I'm putting the buttonholes. So I'm gonna need to do a little bit of math, but also almost a month ago on July 13th, I made this Amazon order of some buttons and I haven't even opened the package yet, but let's do that together real quick. So I bought these gold buttons, and because of the size, I don't want to make the buttonholes too small and then the buttons can't go through. So not only do I have to figure out the spacing of the buttonholes, I also need to figure out how many stitches wide each buttonhole is gonna be. So yeah, but can we just take a look at these buttons again? They're so cute. They're gold. Ugh, I really like these. And they weren't that expensive. I don't remember the exact price, but I'll put it here. But yeah, pretty affordable. And they're 25mm buttons, so a pretty decent size. Basically, once I realized that my shirt was going to, in fact, be a sweater, I knew that I had to size up the buttons. But either way, I'm gonna start crocheting and we'll see if we get to the point of buttonholes. I don't know. But yeah, just wanted to give a quick update. So the way that I'm going to do this is I'm going to start in the middle of the back and work my way around the outside. And then I'm going to go around the outside 5 times. That is the plan. So 5 rows of single crochet, and on the 3rd row is when I'm going to do the buttonholes. So now let's start crocheting. Or I guess not start, continue, because I've been crocheting for several hours now, if we add up all the days. And one more thing real quick. This is how much of the second blue skein that I have after all this crocheting plus the sewing. So I obviously will have to dip into my 3rd skein, but I am going to finish off this scrap. This is what I'm going to start the single crochets with. And when I ultimately run out, I will add the new skein. That didn't take very long. I ran out. From right here to right here. And also what I'm doing is I'm crocheting over all of these ends as I go so that I don't have to weave them in later. But now let me tie on the new skein. New skein attached. Okay, I just finished the first time around. I'd say it took me 25-ish minutes, so not too bad. And also the first round, there are some parts that I had to kind of guess where the stitch should go because it was like the side of a stitch that I had to work into, if that makes sense. But now that I've done single crochets around, there's a proper stitch for me to work into for the next few rounds. So it should be a little bit faster. Okie dokie, I just have to do some math and some counting. So I have these safety pins. Can you see those? I have these safety pins spaced out, and this is where the button holes are going to go. So Will Smith's shirt has 5 buttons. Mine is gonna have 6 because of the spacing. So yeah, now I am going to work on the 3rd row, and for the spacing for the buttonholes, it's going to be 2 stitches. So I'm going to chain 2 to give myself a buttonhole. Okay, I have finished all of these single crochet rounds. There's 5 of them. I've been doing single crochets for over 2 hours now. Love that. This is how much blue yarn was used. I think you can see my eye through there, maybe, maybe not. So I might need to buy another blue skein. So when the sun rises, I have to do the collar and the cuffs of both sleeves, and then sew on the buttons. I don't know if this is enough yarn for that, but we'll find out later. But it is currently 2:32 a.m., so I'm going to put down this project and resume when the sun is up. Good night, friends.
Much, much, much later.
So it's 8:27 p.m. So I wouldn't quite say the sun is up, even though I said I'd see you once the sun was up. The sun was up, and then it has set again. But I am going to hopefully finish up this cardigan right now or before I go to bed. So as I said last night, I wouldn't say I'm running low on yarn, but I had less yarn than I thought I would. I didn't realize the border would take up so much. So I am now going to move on to the cuffs. And then depending on how much yarn I have left over, that will determine the length of the collar. So I feel like the cuffs are more important than the collar. So I'm going to do the cuffs first. And I've never done cuffs before, but I feel like I got it. So just like how when I was making the single crochet border, I crocheted over all my ends. This is what the end of my sleeves currently look like. So I will be crocheting over these ends so that I don't have to weave them in. So yes, now I'm going to start working on some cuffs and we'll see how that goes. Starting over. Okay, so I finished the first cuff. As you guys saw, I initially pulled it all out because it wasn't cinching the way that I wanted it to, because I wasn't doing the right thing at the base. Basically, I wasn't doing the decreases, so the ribbing would have been the same width as the sleeve, but I wanted the sleeve to taper off. So I fixed it, and this is what it's looking like. And I sewed it up on the bottom so everything is connected. And now I have to do the same thing on the other sleeve, but I think the other sleeve is gonna go faster because I know what I'm doing now and I won't have to pull out after doing like 20 minutes of work. So yeah, it's currently 9:53. Let's work on this second cuff. One more thing, this is how the yarn is looking. So I think we'll have enough for the second cuff. The collar though, still not sure about that. Okay, I have done the second sleeve, or the second cuff, I should say. So they're both complete, and I still have a decent amount of yarn left to make the collar, but I am going to take a bit of a break. I do have some social media stuff to do. As you guys know, I'm trying to post one reel, one short, and one TikTok every single day. So it's one video that I post to all three places. So I'm going to take a break from crocheting because it's 10:55 p.m. and I need to post this video before midnight. So I'm going to take a break, do that, and then come back and hopefully finish this up.
2 hours later.
Hey friends, It is 12:29 a.m. and I'm not gonna finish this collar tonight. I just realized that there's some math that I need to do in order to get it the way that I want it. And I'm not in the mood to do math right now. So I'm not going to be able to work on it today, which I guess is technically the 5th now. I don't think so. Once I go to sleep and wake up, I believe I have a pretty busy day ahead of me, so I don't think I'm going to be able to. So then Wednesday, so August 6th, is the next time I think I'm going to be able to work on this. And that's the day I think I'm going to finish it. August 6th, I'm probably gonna finish it right before I have to go to work. So I'm not gonna be able to do like the try on and the reveal and all that stuff. So the finishing should be August 6th and then the final reveal should be August 7th. That's the plan. But as you know, if you've watched the video up until this point, things haven't always been going according to plan. But that is the new plan. That's plan like T. We're past A, B, C, D, E, F, G. We're at plan T by now. So that's plan T. Finish it up on the 6th, reveal on the 7th. So I will see you then. I'll see you on August 6th.
The following day.
It is Wednesday, August 6th at 1:20 p.m. And we are back. I have my stitch markers. So this is where I'm going to do the collar, and this is how much yarn I have left. I cannot use all of this yarn for the collar because I still need to use some of it to sew on the buttons. So I don't know how many rows of a collar I'm gonna end up doing. I'm gonna do it until I almost run out, and then however tall the collar is however tall the collar is. So let's start crocheting. Hi.
What's that? You want to make me one?
Oof, you have money for me to make you one? Okay, so I have finished the collar. I did 15 rows of single crochet and I still have more than enough yarn left over. So now I'm going to sew on the buttons. Okay, friends, we are in the home stretch. It is now time to sew on the buttons. So as you can see here, I do have the buttons attached, but they're just attached with a safety pin just so that I could get the spacing correct. So this is the blue that we have left over. I just wound it into this ball. And so I'm going to use this to sew it on to kind of make it seamless. So let's cut off a strip and let's start sewing on these buttons. One thing I will say, when I'm sewing these buttons on the back of these buttons, you can see this hole. But I found that when you sew things just using the one hole, the button tends to be kind of floppy. So on the back, it also has these holes. So I'm going to sew through here as well as around here to really secure the buttons. I just realized I'm gonna have to use a smaller needle because this doesn't fit. Let's try this one. Okay, it's a little snug, but it'll work. One button done, 5 more to go. are done. All 6 buttons are sewed on. I still have some stitch markers and stuff in the project, which I will take out later, but it is finished. So this is what it's looking like right now. I'm not gonna put it on. The final reveal is gonna be tomorrow. It is currently 4 p.m. and I need to leave for work right now, but here's a quick scan of it. And the next clip you're gonna see is the final reveal. Are you guys ready for the big reveal?
I like pretty girls. Girls, 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 girls. I love pretty girls. Girls, 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 girls. I like pretty girls. Girls, 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 girls. I love pretty girls. Girls, 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 girls.
Do you see this? Oh my gosh, I am so proud of myself for making this. I know that when we started out, it was supposed to be a t-shirt and we had to alter some things along the way, but I think it turned out great. And so I made a lot of mistakes while doing this project. It is my first ever sweater. It wasn't supposed to be, but that's what ended up happening. And it was also my first granny stitch project. And so I made some mistakes along the way, but I caught them as I went. So essentially, once I made the first panel, I realized certain mistakes that I made. So then I had to copy those same mistakes on the other side so that they would both be wrong, but then it would look intentional. Like, I don't know if you can tell, maybe if I turn sideways, the back is longer than the front. Because when I was doing the granny stitch, it was supposed to be like 12 and 12 on each side, but then it turned out that I did something wrong and there was actually 13 and 11. So yeah, when I realized that when I was making the second panel, I also had to make one side have 2 more stitches than the other side, but it worked out. And it's kind of like, I think people call them mullet dresses or high-low dresses where the front is short and the back is long. So it's not as dramatic as that, but it is longer in the back. But I love this. And if I unbutton it, I want you to see the full fit. This is what we're working with. Look, I got the glasses, I got the tie, I got the pink shirt, the pants, the shoes. Like, I put this fit together. I am truly twinning with Will Smith. But I do want to quickly show you what it would look like if I got the measurements right. So let me quickly pin this up and show you the true vision. Don't pay attention to the back. I pinned it up and I just used an elastic to kind of cinch me in a little bit, but this was the vision. And while it didn't turn out perfectly, I think that this was a great first attempt. I would say task failed successfully. The fact that I was able to just look at a picture and come up with this, I'm very proud of myself. Like, even yesterday when I was doing the collar, one of my cousins came over and I wish that I was recording for the full conversation, but I only got a snippet of it. I showed a small clip of it before this during the time lapse. But anyways, when I told him, I'm like, yeah, this is my first time making a sweater. He's like, you're kidding. I'm like, well, it's my first time making a sweater, but I have been crocheting for 15 years. So I used those skills and I was able to make something. Like, I actually... When I was getting dressed, like when I was putting on the full fit, putting on the glasses, the tie and everything, I just couldn't stop giggling. I was like, I really did that. Like, you don't understand how proud I am of myself. It is getting hot. It is like 30 degrees Celsius right now, and I'm wearing pants and a very warm sweater. Like, this sweater feels like I'm wearing a blanket. But be on the lookout for me wearing this in future videos because I definitely will be. Probably when the weather starts to cool down a little bit, but this is not the last you are going to see of this cardigan. Oh, and I forgot one more thing. How much money I spent to make this. So in total, I used 9 skeins of yarn of Loops and Threads Soft Classic. And the first batch of 8 that I bought, I got them 25% off. And then I bought the extra skein of blue and I got that one for 30% off. And then I did buy that extra skein of pink, but I didn't end up using it, so I'm gonna return that, so that doesn't count in the cost of this. So in total, I used 9 skeins, and with my discounts and everything, it ended up being $37.19. So all of this cost me $37 to make. And yes, the buttons were an extra cost. I don't remember exactly how much I paid for it, but I'll put it here and then add the cost to it. But yeah. And so every part of this outfit I already owned, besides the tie. This tie is my dad's. But I already owned the shoes, already owned the pants, already owned this shirt. And then I did buy these sunglasses for $11.97 plus tax. So this whole fit was this price right here. But just the yarn itself was $37.19. And this took me, I don't even know how long, because I haven't started editing this video yet. But from my estimation, it took me over 24 hours to make this. So not a lot of money went into this, but a lot of time went into it. You don't understand how proud I am of myself. And let me do a quick 360 in this. So yes, that is all for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. It was a long time coming. It took me nearly a month to finish. But if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. If you think your friends will enjoy it, be sure to share it with them. The link to my Etsy shop will be in the description below, where you can buy some of my other crochet creations. This one I will be keeping for myself, but there's lots of things on my shop. And I'll see you in my next video.